as we try to figure out who you are and what you are all about, and give us an idea of what you're looking for. We pulled out that you wanted to create a website that was a lot more modern and following modern design standards and some more of the modern internet development techniques. But also, we didn't want it to be over the top and in your face and not really fit the message that you guys are getting across. You're very theologically sound, and we wanted that to come across in the presentation as well. Ultimately, to create a website that will appeal to a wide audience, but also a younger audience too, with the updates. I'll show you 2 pages, and you get an idea of the direction that we're heading with the design. And I'll also show you what I've come up with as a good color scheme that works with what we've been presented with the logo so far, and get your opinion on that as well. So if you guys are ready, we'll jump in.
Great.
All right. What you're looking at here is the initial view on the home page. We like to start off with a nice large header graphic, which
yeah, I have that as well.
Do we have it paused still? I'm sorry.
I think that was my mistake. Sorry about that, guys.
Got it. Okay, great.
Got
it. Yep, I can see it.
All right. So as I was saying, we like to start with this large header graphic. Just to make an impact, we want it to be inviting, and so you can put through Backstage any photos or slides. We call them slides because you can put many of them in there to feature either your building, your congregation, upcoming events, or something you want to highlight. Here as an example, we put in if there's a college for your Bible study, you want to highlight that, you can put that as a slide. That's just a good introduction right up front. Then below that, I pulled this from your current website, and I kind of like this, a good way of introducing people to your church. Welcome to Grace Emmanuel, very, very welcoming text there. And then that statement that really sums up what you guys are all about at your church. And pulling in a Bible verse right there, I think that's a great way of showing that you find that to be very important. Then below that, all presented on the initial view, easy to find, are your service times, as well as the skip directions button. And you'll see I mocked up what it would look like when you hit get directions. We would pop up this full screen text box. Really easy. It kind of directs you through the process. All you got to do is enter your address and hit enter or hit the arrow, and it will take you to the Google Maps or whatever map app is if you're using it on your phone. So that's kind of how that works there. As you scroll down, you're introduced to the 3 different important sections we had drawn out in the scope. You wanted to highlight your recent sermons, your upcoming events, and then wanted a little bit of information about the gospel. And we introduced those all with these nice circular photos, which you'd also be able to change those out in Backstage and put whatever you want to in there. We can put some images in there to start with, just so that there's something in there as well.
Sure. Well, and our, sorry, go ahead.
I'm not entirely familiar with how WordPress works in that way, but if it helps, the explanation here is if you log into our content management system, Backstage, once the site is built and you go to the home page section where you edit the home page content, there will be 3 image fields that you'd be able to basically select an image from your image library or from your computer.
Yeah, great. And
Yeah,
and our and Dave, who is actually out of the country right now, he's going to be sort of the design, sort of our in-house design guy, and so what we'll probably do, even as we get kind of everything sort of planned and whatever, and at least set up initially, then I'm going to have him go in and just he can just go ahead and make a lot of those decisions, and we'll just farm that out to him. So because I know that's always a concern. You build a nice website and then you get lousy, goofy images. So he'll take care of all that. So
we also noticed that on your Facebook page and some of the photo galleries on there, you have a lot of really nice photography. So it's always good from our perspective as designers. We love to see things that look really nice, to know that you have access to some good photography. That's a comfort.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the graphics that the first one, I actually found this before I knew about the higher quality images. And again, this is just a placeholder. The one over here on the right, that's one that I created just to be a nice pairing with the gospel message below it. That, like I said, that could stay there. If you wanted it, you can obviously replace it with something else if you feel the need. But anyway, continuing down the page, below each is a clean presentation of each of the items. On your recent sermons, you're presented with the name of the sermon, the one who was speaking, as well as what service time it was, whether it was an AM or a PM service, and the date in which that was the sermon was given. And then similarly, under the upcoming events, you just have the name of the event as well as the time and the date.
Yeah, this is something. This is really minor, but I see that the height of each box is going to somewhat depend on if there's text that has to wrap the next line. It would be real nice if even at least those first 2 columns could be exactly the same height. I just kind of look at that and imagine myself being a little OCD there. It might be nice, but I don't know how that would work with flexibility. But maybe even to make each of those top 3 ones, just make them each a third, and space them out a little bit, so they were all flush at the bottom, maybe.
There's a possibility. There's a few reasons that I tend to stray away from trying to make columns even, and a lot of it has to do with the responsive aspect of this design.
Okay.
Responsiveness, I'm pretty sure that was in the scope that we're developing the site to be able to expand and contract to work on any screen size. When you have that, you have text wrapping at completely unpredictable points.
Okay. Yep. I'm tracking with you. I'm tracking with you.
And then another thing that we like, ragged right text. I don't know if you've studied in typography the idea of when you left align your text and you leave the right side, what we call a ragged right. It's a preferred method of text alignment, and so I often describe the columns as having a ragged bottom, in the sense that the end of the columns don't necessarily have to align because it's a shifting and ever changing area.
Sure, that's fine. Yeah, I'm good with that.
So if we move on to the far right, I put this brief statement in there that's sort of an attention getter, not really to say too much about what the gospel is yet, but as a statement to try to get people to click on that link to read more about what the gospel is.
Okay.
And I guess I should remind you at this point that any of the text that you're looking at on here, whether it's this paragraph underneath the gospel,
it's easily changed,
or this, all changeable through Backstage. Any bit of this text, you can put whatever you need to in there. But we would
Sure.
recommend that you keep it roughly the same length as what we have because it works well with the size of
Sure.
the window and everything.
Sure.
We keep it a really clean and easy to digest presentation.
Yeah. Now this is also minor, and I know we could probably change these things, but we would probably not advertise the Wednesday night prayer and praise. So I don't know if design-wise if that would be an issue, but primarily we would only do the Sunday AM and PM. So I don't know if that would mean a design. Yeah, I don't know if that would mean a redesign of that section, but just to kind of let you know, the Wednesday one would not be in there. That's really more of a small group thing for some of our older folks. Anyone's welcome to attend, but it's not necessarily a whole church function. So.
Sure, that's not a problem. We'll send a round of changes document to you at the end of this meeting, and that's where you'll want to put things like that in.
Okay, great.
Make note about it again. My initial thought there would simply be we'll take Sunday morning and Sunday evening, the text there, make it a few point sizes larger, but just keep that space really the same as it is, but only have those two there.
Yeah, great.
So it'll work pretty much the same way.
Okay.
Finishing off the page, the footer down here is very simple. We're just presenting your contact, a little bit of contact information down there, the phone number and your address, your social media links. I saw on your current website that your podcast was a big deal, and so we figured it might. You'd probably want to continue to highlight that on your page.
Yeah, now by pod, it's weird. You know, for a guy that's so into tech, I actually have never done podcasts. But I mean, we may be able to talk. We may be talking about the same thing. We live stream our services. Is that is that what you mean? Same thing.
Actually, I don't use podcasts either. Being a tech guy, I still haven't found a significance, or I haven't found them significant enough. But I noticed that it was on your current website, and I do know that a lot of people use them. And I think what it is right now is just another place where your sermons, the audio from them, it just lives on iTunes, and you can go and download or subscribe to it.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's something
I'm apparently
keep doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm apparently completely out of touch with that aspect of it. I totally believe you, but that's like an epiphany to me. Awesome. I'll look into that. Okay.
That's not a big deal. It's an icon down there. We can remove it or keep it there just depending on what you guys feel like you need.
Sure.
Yeah, actually,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know if you're asking me, but we'd absolutely. That's major. Yeah, that's major. That's huge.
Is that something that you highlight the live stream at all times, or only when it is streaming?
It's only when it's streaming. No, I mean, obviously, normally it's just Sunday morning, Sunday night. We do live stream, like in Wednesday nights in the summer. Our family's pastor will do he'll go through maybe like a Paul Tripp book or something, and so Wednesday nights we'll do that. That's live streamed. Weddings are live streamed, but mostly it's Sundays.
Sure. I know that or I'm assuming in previous meetings that you might have had with when we were going over the scope and talking about what the sermon module is capable of, we have a live stream module built in there, and there's an element on the page, on the sermons page, that shows up when a sermon is streaming, or when you've got a video stream currently going on, and that's certainly something that we can also move to the home page and have it showing up in both places. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I think that'd be helpful. I don't know if I'm sorry. Is it David? I'm sorry. The designer.
Oh, Michael.
Michael. Sorry. Yeah. Easy to remember. I'm not sure if you see this as being kind of trendy, hip, not what we are, and I may run this by even like our lead pastor, but even like that thing of next live stream coming up in with like a ticker. What do you think about something like that?
I'd be all for it. I don't know if it's something that we have in the scope to be able to put that in. It is different from just indicating that there is something currently happening.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly not in my mind.
We could build.
Sure. It's not essential in my mind. I think the most important thing is just to have just a very definite, clear place. I mean, even now with the total dysfunctionality of our website, that's largely what people get on there to do. I mean, because if you look at our stats, I mean, they just soar during Sunday mornings and Sunday evenings. So, from that standpoint, as long as it's prominent, it can be a widgety kind of thing. It can even be a static link that says, watch live or something. And as long as we can embed it somewhere, it's fine.
Are you asking about the events down here?
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not totally following you. I mean, what's the new content that's going to be refreshing every couple seconds or whatever? Mm-hmm.
We would, through the calendar module, it would pull in the upcoming 4 events. We would probably keep it to 4. If you feel like you wanted to have 5 in there, then we would want to limit it.
But yeah, but it's always changing though. I think if that's what you're asking, it's tied in. So we would not update this page, the home page itself. It would automatically pull from the events module.
That's right. And that's the same with the servers too. It pulls in the most recent one. Let me ask you: do you guys happen to use Mac computers? Apple?
I don't. No.
Okay. I was trying to. There's a design element in the operating system in which, in the top right corner, I think it's called Notification Center or something. It pops up a sort of rectangle in the top right of your screen with a notification or an alert.
I've seen those. I've seen them.
You can dismiss that. That when you mentioned the sermon live stream showing up on the home page, that's sort of what I was envisioning, more of a notification that pops up when you get to the home page that says there's a service currently live, and then you can click on that to go to the page. Does that sound like what you were looking for?
Sure. Yeah, I think something like that would be fine. I think maybe if people want to, because the way that it works is that people can dial in even when it's not live. They'll just get a screen saying, we're not currently on the air or whatever, but sometimes they'll dial in ahead of time. The only downside of that, if nothing appears until we're actually live, it'd be nice if I don't know if people check in at like you know, like 8:40 or something, and we haven't gone live yet, for them to just leave. Might be nice to say, you know.
Actually, the way that module works in Backstage, I can describe it real quick for you. You have a service currently streaming your services or your services live on I'm stumbling over words here. In Backstage, you can tell the site at what time you want that live stream page to show up and what time you want it to go away. So you could actually put 8 o'clock a.m. as the start time. And
okay.
The graphic would show up saying, you know, we're live, or it would show up saying you can go to the page, and then from there they would go to it. It would still have the video there saying, no, we're not live yet. But I think that goes along with what you're saying. People will still be able to get to it, but that's just a matter of what time you decide you want that to show up.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's great. I like it.
All right. So is there any more questions about the home page as we've kind of looked at it so far?
Yeah, I have one more question. I've noticed this trend where people have at the very bottom of the page they have like the whole menu kind of expanded with all the list of like the sub menus and stuff. It makes for a very tall footer. You understand what I'm saying? I forgot that I was going to mention one thing about the way that the site is going to be structured, and we can't really portray this in a static screenshot, but we'll build the site so that the navigation up here at the top is fixed, and it stays with you as you scroll down. And so one reason we don't repeat the navigation in that case is that it stays with you. Sure. Okay. Great.
That's a technique that has been used inside. People would say, well, when we get to the bottom of the page, we want people to still navigate around, and so they put all that in the footer. But now, if you've got navigation that stays with you, then it's no longer important to keep it down there. So
great, super.
All right,
Michael, do you have any other questions?
that would be something we would do in the rounds of changes if you had specific requests. But okay. I was going to show you this view. This doesn't represent what a page will look like. It was just a screenshot where I pulled up the color scheme layer to just show where it came from. I took 2 shades of blue from your logo and then a nice analogous sort of a greenish color there in the middle that works well with everything else. Just as an accent, it's mainly because we don't want to use blue for everything on the site. It's good to have some variety. It's good to have the colors up as an accent that works along with everything. And I've used that for a few things in the video. Notice the icons have that color. It's very subtle. Some of this text down here brings in that hue a little bit.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I will. Now, at the end of this meeting, you're going to send us these shots, right?
That is correct. Yes.
Super. Yeah, I'll send them. I'll try to send them to Dave. I mean, I know he's out of the country, but I'll try to send them to Dave, and even just try to get his input. I mean, he's, I think he'll like them, but for sure. But I'll shoot them to him too. And
okay.
So.
And then we'll move on to the final page. This represents one of the pages that would exist under About or Institute of Grace Ministries. These are your pages where it's really more text and content heavy. We still like to start out the page with a nice attention-getting image. And again, we notice you have plenty of good photography, so we like to use that in the cases where we have it. Start off the page with the heading. This is where you are on the site. then we can create a subheading or another attention getter, caption. These kind of things will be optional. If you include it in Backstage, it'll show up. If you leave the field blank, then it wouldn't show up, and that's all up to you at that point. We use
now how about that little icon up there above your subheading? Are those unique icons or?
Yeah, that we would create an icon to go with every section of the website, and so the book we chose just to represent what the About Us section would be. Sermons would have the microphone icon. I think that's what it was on the home page under the sermons graphic.
Okay.
But yeah, we would create a set of icons that would go with each page.
Great.
In fact, we have most of them already. Then the navigation, again, clean, very simple, organized. We chose that we could potentially put the site search down here as well. We have it in the header, always with you, but...
Now, this is actually a question for David. I can't remember. Did we decide on getting universal site search or not? I was thinking we were not going to.
We talked about a couple different things, the announcement, site search. I could have messed up.
I noticed it was in the scope, but that's...
I mean, it looks great there, and I like the idea. I know we went back and forth, and I don't remember what is on the agreement. I don't have it in front of me, unfortunately.
I'll double check that for you.
If it wasn't, okay. I mean, if it wasn't in the agreement, and I'm joking, but I mean, if you're trying to sell us on it, I like it. I mean, it looks great. And
no, actually, that wasn't the purpose. But
I know.
You may be right. I may have just because we were adding in things and changing things. I may have just added it.
Can be added.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. It may have just been our mistake. If you don't want it, since this is just a concept, we'll just take it out. We really weren't trying to sell it to you, so.
No. I know. I mean, I like it. Okay. I like the look and I like the idea. I just want to make sure that we don't get to the end and either get something we didn't pay for or turn around and we're not able to incorporate it and we were planning on it. Just didn't.
Sure.
It just occurred to me to wonder what we had decided. So.
Sure.
I mean, I like it. So.
That on the scope and just if it helps Michael or you, I don't know how all these things work for you guys, but on the scope that showed up as adding $415 to the cost. So I don't think we did include that. You're probably right. I went into the scope today and noticed that Michael had it on the designs. So I kind of penciled it into the scope because I thought, well, maybe I just messed up on the scope. But I think you're right. I think we did not decide to go with that. So you guys just let me know, maybe on the rounds of changes, just tell me yes or no on that.
Okay. Because I know we did add a couple things that were not in the agreement that we had to we had to check the box or whatever, and we did tack on a couple things. So.
Yeah, we added
I'll check
the resource page, general announcements, and sermon detail. Yeah, we did add on several things. So I probably just messed up on that, Dan. But obviously, Michael's ability to sell is just unparalleled.
I sell even when I'm not trying to.
He didn't even need to, but he's so good at it.
Well, tell you what, I'll run it by Jay again and just kind of see where we are, and I'll just ask him about it. So.
Okay. Yeah, no problem, and no pressure at all. I'm sorry about that on our end.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
All right.
Well, I'll just finish up here with the last few details. This represents what you'd be able to create in the rich text field in Backstage. Simple content. We choose a nice typeface that's very clean and gives it some character. And we thought about repeating these buttons throughout different pages of the website to direct people to content they might be looking at certain places. If someone's reading about your church, they might at that point want to get directions, so we leave that readily available, even on the interior of the site.
Now, do we? I mean, I assume we have the ability to customize widgets in sidebars.
You would be able to customize the pages that are in there and create as many as you want. As far as what links appear on the pages, we would probably do that in the development phase. If we're linking different pages to different sections of the website at that point, that would be more of a trying to keep a path going throughout in a logical way, and less about featuring specific content. Does that make any sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. When it comes to layout and design, we really try to nail all that down, and that's not really something Backstage is designed to handle. The Backstage is all about content, so you could add unlimited subpages here, like Michael said, but to change whether Get Directions shows up or not, stuff like that. Backstage is more structured to deal with content. But it's definitely something you could say, well, we want the About Us pages to have Get Directions, or we don't want to have it. That's something we could tell us now. We can make those decisions now. So.
Yep. Okay.
Do you have any specific questions at this point about the look of this page?
This particular page, I don't have any questions, Michael.
Okay. All right. Well, that is those are the concepts that I had to present today. If there are no more questions, I'll turn it back to Dave to tell you about the next step in the process.
Great. Thank you. So in other words, like, Michael, are you asking about the sermon module page?
Okay. Yeah, I think I see where you're coming from. We don't design out everything on the front end. We present to you a couple specific pages that we've really tried to concept to get the look and feel. Once you enjoy the look and feel, we're going to take the similar idea and roll it out to the other pages. So we aren't prepared to show you like the media page right now. We're going to continue designing those and roll them out in the coding phase. But yes, the media page, it's not going to feel like you just left your site and walked into, sermon audio or something. It's going to all be branded to the look and feel of the site. So if you've heard me talk about the sermon module or the calendar module, don't think necessarily that since it's module, it's going to kind of look like a module. It actually is going to feel like it's intricately woven into your site design-wise, but the functionality is very stable on the back end. It's a system that we've used on many websites, so we know it's been proven. It works really, really well. Does that kind of answer the question? Okay. Yeah. So like the blues and the green that you see and the shade of gray and black that Michael's used, that general feel and the lots of white space, that's going to be true across the board. Appropriate to the content, of course, for each section, but really same look and feel throughout. So.
This is one more minor thing, and this is sort of a question for Michael. And the caveat is I'm not a designer, so I I'm not very inclined to push hard regarding what I think should be, because I know sometimes you do something and your client comes back and says, no, I really want this, and you're thinking, oh, no, you don't. I'm just kind of wondering about the header text, the white header text up there that's kind of sans, it's kind of blocky. It feels a lot different from the subheader text and just some of that more of an elegant, kind of classic feel. Just kind of wondered if what your thought was on there, how attached you were to that blocky text, and if you say, look, I'm telling you this is design cohesive, it's spot on, then I'm not gonna push, but just wondering.
My explanation for that would be simply that we like to pair sans serif and serif type together and use a pairing that they complement each other. And you'll find that both of these choices are on the more modern side. You did mention that the serif type, or Welcome to Grace Emmanuel, feels a little bit more elegant. And I think the nature of that is simply because it is a serif font, but it's still more on the modern side of serif type. Mm-hmm. And it's a very good pairing. And the College and Career Bible Study, that's an example of the sans serif type up there. It is more bold, but that's the nature of the element. We kind of want that one to stand out and look very clean on top of the photography.
Sure.
So that's a little bit of the reasoning behind those two choices.
Okay. Good. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Cool. Well, do you have any other questions?
Yep, I'm good too.
And just to remind you there, you actually have 2 rounds of design changes if you need it. There's an hour, I believe, of studio time in 2 rounds. So, and an hour of studio time, that doesn't sound like a lot. They can make a lot of changes in that time. So,
yeah, sure. Yeah.
You can submit a round, and I'll send you that information after this meeting. And then after you receive the updated concepts, you still feel like there's something lingering out there, that's fine. We've given you 2 rounds, and that should handle all that. If you really are happy with everything, you can kind of save up that time, and we will have another chance for rounds of changes after the site has been coded and released to you before it's gone live. So, and that, I believe, we have like an hour and a half or 2 hours at that point. So, and 2 rounds. So you still have plenty of opportunities for feedback, input, changes, within reason. We can't start over from scratch, but
right.
But there is still a lot in your control at this point, and so you can feel good about that. And no question is a dumb question. I may be a dumb account manager for you, but no question is a dumb question. So, but I'm backed by awesome designers like Michael who know all the answers. So we're good to go.
Well, overall, I'm really pleased with it. It's funny, I keep trying to scroll here. Yeah, I can't scroll. I'm really pleased with it. Overall, I really like the look. I think it's great. So, I think, I'm gonna, I know what I don't know. So I have sometimes opinions on design stuff, but at this level, usually I don't. When it's done by an actual designer, I'm pretty hesitant to say no. I think you should do this instead. I will show it to our pastor and to our lead pastor and to Dave if I can get a hold of him and just try to get some feedback from them. But I know also with both of them that they're not going to even want to super micromanage. Dave's a designer, so he'll certainly have more opinions than I do. But I'm confident they're going to like the direction you guys are going. So.
Okay, very good.
Well, that sounds great and makes a lot of sense. Cool. Well, like I said, I'll just send you that stuff by email, and let your feedback begin. So,
Great.
and I think I'm going to kind of suggest a due date of maybe next Wednesday or something. If you need more time, that's fine, but it'll just give us something to work towards.
Sure. Yep. Keep us on track. Great. Great.
Cool. Well, yeah.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
You guys.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
You are the last party in the conference.